After my video about the Sony RX0 the other day, I got a few comments. One in particular stood out to me though, basically saying this person had owned the RX0, and I'll show his comment on the screen, and he ended up returning it because he didn't like it, in favor of the Sony X3000. It's another action camera from Sony that does a lot of things the RX0 does not do, but it also doesn't do some of the things the RX0 does. And so, a new challenger appears. I saw the X3000 was on sale over at Amazon. Regularly retails for I think $3.99 or $4.49 or something like that. It was $3.49 over on Amazon, and so I went ahead and picked one up. So in this video, I'm going to unbox it, we're going to take a look at it, and then I might do a separate video where we compare these two. So if you'd like to see that, leave a thumbs up down below the video. Let me know in the comment section what specifically you'd like to see compared, because there are some things about the RX0 that I forgot to mention, like it does do raw photos, it has S-Log built in so you can get a flat picture profile, making it much easier to match the footage from this with higher end cameras, something that this camera does not do. So there are some really neat things about this. So if you'd like to see a real comparison between these two, let me know. But for now, let's go ahead and open this box, start taking a look at the X3000, because there are some things that are really awesome about this camera too. Now, before we even open the box, you can see right here, one of the things that makes this special and unique compared to the RX0, this does 4K natively in the camera. So it has 4K, it can do full HD, 1080p, 120 frames per second. It also has balanced optical steady shot. The camera that I filmed the overhead shots with here, this camera right here, is a Sony camcorder. It has balanced optical steady shot built into it as well, so absolutely love that. This one's also capable of doing 4K time lapses, although I think the time lapses from this are photos that you have to combine yourself. It also has a stereo mic and a mic jack in it, so definitely looking forward to checking this thing out. Not really sure why I never picked this one up before, because I know that I've looked at it. I think there was just something about it that bugged me, but now it's here and now I'm going to use it. So inside the box, by the way, not a new camera. I think it came out in January of this year. I'm a little late to the game, as per usual. So actually, first off the bat, this is the camera in its waterproof housing, because again, that's a big difference between the two. The RX0 is waterproof, crush-proof, shock-proof. By design, the X3000, you have to have it inside of this large housing in order for it to be waterproof. I thought it said somewhere on here that it's also shockproof. Maybe not, but one way or the other, the waterproofing is what I really care about. We'll come back to the camera. There's an interesting little tripod mount in here. It looks like a GoPro mount if I had to say it, but it is a lot wider. Of course, you get the micro USB charging cable. The battery, ever so slightly different from the other ones. This is the Sony NP-BX1. Then a bunch of paperwork and instructions and stuff like that, warranty information, and for some reason a Sony action cam, I think a sticker. Aha, my curiosity pays off. As it turns out, I do still have some spare batteries from the Sony RX100 I used to own. I gave it to my mother-in-law a couple of years ago because she needed a camera. So I do have at least a couple of these generic batteries laying around here, 1600 milliamp hour replacements, whereas the included MPBX1 is a 1240 milliamp hour battery. Just gotta make sure I've got the chargers and everything, but very cool. So according to the documentation, this included mount for it. It says it's an attachment buckle, but I'm not sure what this is actually supposed to attach to, so I'll have to look that up. Anyway, getting back to the camera, let's go ahead and take it out of its housing. This is waterproof housing. Very nice that it does come with it, but again, one of the reasons why I found the RX0 so interesting, just like the GoPro Hero 5 and 6 and so on, is that you don't have to have a big housing on it. This housing's not terribly huge, and it does come off pretty easily. Anyway, taking a look around the camera very quickly, here on the front is that optical steady shot lens. I believe there are 3 different width settings, but I can't remember them offhand. I think it's like 17, 23, and maybe 28. I don't have it in the documentation or anything here. We will see in a minute, I'm sure. You have the microphone here on the front. It does say stereo, but you can't really see that because the white kind of blends in. On the side, there's an NFC tag, the little LCD display, menu button, up and down buttons. On the bottom is where the micro SD card will go in. Not the best placement in my opinion, but probably the best placement they could get it. And then your tripod mount. On the back here, there's a little door that opens where you get the HDMI out, the micro USB for charging, and your 3.5mm mic jack. Then a little button here to help you open the battery door. You just pull that down, pop the battery door open. It does still stay attached, and that's where your battery is gonna go. I'll take the included Sony battery to start. Put it in place, lock it back, and then on top you've got the power button here at the back and the record button with what would assume to be a status light. It also says record or enter. So hit the power button to get started, and it makes a lot of noise. And it looks like it's asking me to set the time. I think that's asking if daylight savings time should be on or off. Put in the date and time. It's saying 2016, so that does show this camera has a little age on it. Gotta get that beep turned off. Got the date and time, and okay. So now here you can see battery level seems to be pretty low. It says no card. It's saying 30p, MP4. Let's go into the menu. I'm gonna see if I can get this beep to turn off. Inside the settings menu, you can see there's an airplane mode, wireless on and off, Bluetooth, looks like a remote pairing option, GPS settings, HDMI settings, more remote settings, USB. Oh, there we go. In this page, there was an option here that says on, limit, and off. So on is where it was by default. I can turn it off, so now it's not going to beep everything. I'm gonna try limit. Okay, so not everything is beeping now. I'm gonna have to look for an online manual or something to see if there are more information about these. Some more things about time settings and versions and management. And then we'll go back. Now we can play back stuff. There's no card. We can do video settings in here. So 1080p 30 was the default. You can take it as high as 1080p 60 in this mode, but it's set to MP4, so you change that. You have XAVC-S HD or XAVC-S 4K is an option. I'm going to start off with the XAVC-S HD. Because this video is 1080p 60, there's no reason to go into 4K mode just yet. If you'd like to see a full 4K sample with this, let me know and I can do that. Very cool that a camera of this size can do 4K, and for 350 bucks, and also has a mic jack. That's really cool. This would appear to be the steady shot, so it has active, standard, and off. I'm gonna leave it at active for now. This would be the field of view. You've got wide, medium, and narrow. I think I will start off with wide and I can change it if I need to. There's a zoom option, on or off. An option as to whether or not you have the camera upside down if you mount it on your dash or something. Exposure compensation, scene settings, white balance, picture styles over here. So you have neutral and vivid, whereas with the RX0 you have an awful lot more than that. Microphone on, you've got a wind reduction filter there you can turn on, which I will turn on before I go outside. And that's that. Mode, you can come up here and you can change it from video to photo, to time-lapse, to live. I think this does have an option to hook it up to your computer and use it to stream to something like, it says Ustream, but hopefully there's a way to make it tie into things like Twitch TV and YouTube Live. I'll have to look into that as well. I've thought about doing more live stuff. If you'd like to see live stuff out of my channel or me doing live stuff maybe on Twitch, streaming games, I don't know, let me know. I've got a little bit of spare time occasionally, so it's something I've thought about. And I'm not sure which of these is time-lapse, and there's one that looks like a loop. So maybe this one's like a continuous recording dash cam option. We'll just leave it on video. So we are now at 1080p 60 with balanced optical steady shot turned on, no card currently in it. And to save on battery, I'm actually going to go back into the settings and put it in airplane mode, because I probably won't use the app with it. It's nice to know that it's there, and I will show it for demonstration purposes. In fact, let me take a minute, I'll download the app and we'll show you what it does so I can not have to immediately use it again. Okay, went ahead and installed the Play Memories mobile app, and also found out that these RX 100 batteries I had left over apparently still have charge, so I don't have to be in a hurry to charge the battery yet. And inside of the app it says scan the QR code of the camera, not connected currently. So I've got the camera on, you open the battery door, and there's a little QR code in here. I hit scan the QR code, it says scanning complete, press OK, and press install. I'm installing a profile, and it says I have to go into my Wi-Fi settings and connect to it. And there you go, inside of my Wi-Fi networks, you can see direct FDR X3000s in there, and it looks like I have connected. I'm seeing my hand. So now you can see in this camera down here that I am pointing it at myself. I'm looking into the lens right now. I do have it set on the widest setting, so you can see basically everything around me. And there is a little bit of a delay, a little bit of lag that I can definitely see. But from here I can go into the menu. I can change Bluetooth settings, camera settings, white balance, scene selection. So basically every setting that you've got on the camera you can access from inside of the app. There's even a multi-camera control setting if you want to use this with multiple cameras. You can change the display down here just by hitting the button to see what you want to be able to see. And there's a mode button over here, so you can change your shooting mode if that's what you want. And you can flip it upside down like that. Change your exposure compensation. Let's just check the angle setting out as well. So we've got wide, we hit medium, and medium is definitely a lot closer to me, as you can see from the little preview down here, which is quite slow. And then narrow, which is very, very close to me. So this is one I'm probably not going to use a whole lot. So we'll go back to wide for now. And I think I'll go ahead and disconnect and maybe do a quick sample video. So here we are. We should now be recording using the Sony X3000. I'm going to get up and I'm going to move around a little bit so you can see everything that's around me, and I'm hand holding this. So if I move kind of quickly, it should compensate a little bit. It should help keep it a little bit more steady. It's not going to be quite as steady as if it were on a gimbal, but definitely a lot more steady and a lot more stable than just hand holding a regular camera, or like the footage that we saw out of the RX0. It's going to be a lot more steady than this footage. And actually, if you couldn't tell from behind me, there's no light coming in from outside because it's dark. So I'm probably going to wait until tomorrow to film the rest of this. I may do a quick clip in some other parts of the house. Then we'll show some stuff tomorrow and we'll wrap it up. So here's a little bit of a handheld clip. Got the little one watching Moana. Is that a good show? This is actually decently low light. And here's my face. The only lights we've got on in this room right now, I've got a little background from those lights. We've got the TV and then the 2 lights over the fireplace. So there you go, decently low light. And as I usually tend to do, I thought I'd do a quick walking around the house inside and out kind of tour with this camera. Allows you to see a bunch of different types of lighting scenarios and then take it outside where it's going to be very windy. I can hear the chimes out back right now, so it's going to be windy. Also, just for the sake of comparison, in case you didn't see it earlier, this is what the medium setting on the camera looks like. I'm holding the camera at about arm's length, maybe a little bit closer than arm's length, and you can probably see just a 23mm wide angle, so it's not hugely wide. It's about what you'd get out of a normal point and shoot. And here's the narrow field of view, which I will not stay on for very long. You can see it's very tight on my face. Hopefully everything looks okay in there. And now back to the wide field of view. Let's take the quick walk around. I'm just going to do all of this in the wide field of view, but you can imagine it would crop in if you do the other ones. So here we are in the dining room. The blinds are open, so there's a lot of natural light pouring into the room. I'll just turn it around so you can see what's going on in the rest of the room. We'll take it a different direction this time. Instead of going back through the hallway, we'll go into the kitchen. So here's our kitchen, changing lighting. The kitchen has no lights turned on. The blinds are closed in here, so it is very dimly lit. I did some tests in the dim light the other night, and this definitely, well, it gets grainy in low light. We'll just put it that way. So this is now the living room, and again, very dimly lit in here. No natural light or anything coming in because the blinds over here are closed. Let's go out back. I do have the wind cancellation filter turned off, so we'll try it without it and then turn it on. And now we're outside, and if you can tell, my hair is moving a bit. It's decently windy. You can see the chimes moving there in the background. The wind is probably making it very difficult to hear what I'm saying. But yeah, there you go. It's a quick test, sort of moving around, letting the wind hit from all angles of what the mic sounds like with a little bit of wind hitting it. And now we're in the exact same place a couple of seconds later because I just turned on the wind cancellation, so we'll see how big of a difference that makes. It's just about as, actually the wind starts to let up right as I do that. It's like the wind cancellation affects the wind in real life. There we go. We got a little bit of a breeze blowing through now. It's starting to kick up a little bit more. It's not the fastest wind that you've ever seen or anything, but this should let you know what a difference that it does make turning it on or not. I've not tried this out myself, so I'll be curious to see if it makes a difference, and if so, how good of a difference it makes. And now we're back inside doing a very quick test using a lavalier microphone. Haven't tested this yet at all myself either, so just making sure that it's working appropriately. And now I'll put a windscreen on it and take it back outside into the wind to see if that works as well. Now we're back outside again. It is decently windy, but I do have the lavalier mic on me with the windscreen on the microphone, and the wind cancellation inside the camera is turned off. And exactly the same scene just a second later, same lavalier microphone with the windscreen, with the wind cancellation in the camera turned on now. So this should be the most wind resistant of all and probably dampen quite a bit. And now we do a bit of a quick test using my Rode pen mic, significantly more expensive lavalier mic that I've got here on my chest, which hopefully will make the audio sound a little bit better. I also put it a little bit farther away from my mouth than I had the last lavalier because in reviewing the footage that I just took, the regular audio sounds like it's got a little bit of a background hiss. The lavalier microphone audio sounds like it doesn't really have that, but it's just really, really overblown, like ridiculously loud. So I'm curious to see what this one sounds like, if the quality sounds a little bit better, if there's any background noise, if it's as loud and as overblown as the last one was. And continuing to test this lavalier pen mic, I realized I did not have the camera set to airplane mode, and that could possibly be interfering with the mic, although it didn't really sound like it. I've gone ahead and set it to airplane mode now, so let's give it a little bit of silence to see how much background noise there is. Well, I hate to admit it, but I think I'm kind of defeated for the moment. I've done a bunch of different tests with this little camera with different microphones, different settings in the camera, and everything else I can think of. I spent a little bit of time searching around on Sony's forum, and what I found out is the Sony X3000 has a built-in automatic gain control. Where most of the other Sony cameras I've ever touched, you can actually set the volume level manually. There's nothing automatic about any of those. This one doesn't have that. It just automatically does whatever it wants. That's why right now I'm not using an external microphone, and if I stop, you're going to hear a little bit of hiss in the background. There's no hiss going on in my office at the moment. You're hearing that because it's automatically adjusting the microphone. So whenever you plug in an external microphone, it ramps up and overpowers, and there's nothing that can be done about it for the moment. If Sony releases a firmware update for the camera, either adding in volume control so you can set what level it's at, or just turning down the ridiculous overpowering of the external microphone port, this will be a much better camera. As it stands, I think this camera is perfectly usable for just everyday walking around vlogging, although for every everyday type vlogging, I would probably put a little bit of a wind muff over the microphone just in case you happen to be outside. Something like these little things that I use on my other cameras. But it's a really convenient little size. It's got excellent picture quality. The stabilization is top notch. So if you are looking for a camera and you don't mind having not so great audio, this is not that bad of an option. Or if you have a way to record the audio using like a separate recorder and then sync it up in post, that would work great. But if you're planning to use this with a microphone, I would say probably don't go for this one. And I'm probably going to do a second video where I actually compare just back and forth video quality and options and everything between this camera, the Sony X3000, and the Sony RX0 I took a look at last week. So let me know if you want to see that. Leave a thumbs up, leave a comment down in the place where comments go. And I'm going to wrap things up there for today. So thank you guys as always for watching. Thanks for the suggestion to pick up this camera. It's definitely a great camera, just the audio kind of sucks. Hit the thumbs up if you like the video and subscribe if you have not already so you get notified when new videos come out. You can even ring that little notification bell. And I'll see you again next time.